Recently, I participated in my first ever game jam. As anyone interested in game development would likely know, a game jam is a competition where game developers are given the task to create a game within a certain time limit. This can vary from 2 days to 2 weeks or even a month. Now, I wasn't actually planning on competing in a game jam for a few more months, but one morning I awoke to the sight of a new video by Shawcat, a YouTuber who I quite enjoy, announcing not only his 100,000 subscriber milestone, but also officially running his very own game jam. So after a few days of considering it, I joined the jam. I eagerly waited for the start of the game jam, and the day before the jam, I not only saw that it started at 3 AM my time, but also that my schedule was a bit of a mess. Turns out I was traveling for about 3 hours. I was considering dropping out of the jam, but I decided it wouldn't hurt to try. So the first day of the jam I decided to try waking up early to at least get an idea down. The theme was mismatched. Initially my brain wasn't coming up with anything other than a simple puzzle game, so I opened Google Doc and did some very deep planning. So yeah, I could only come up with one idea, but my brain kinda stopped working after I realized the idea is kinda decent. So as you can see, I decided on the idea of a 2D platformer where you play as different shapes, although some areas require different ones in order to continue. I asked my friends and they seemed to like it. I got movement working and added some basic art for the player, added a tile map which took way longer than I would like to admit. I then decided to get to work adding the gameplay hook, the shape shifting. The logic behind it is that there's an area that when the player enters it, it changes a variable that disables the previous sprite and collision and enables the new ones. Pretty simple code overall, kinda spaghetti, but I don't care. I then created a machine sprite for it, updated the tile map one last time, and went to bed, as it was way past my bedtime. The second day of the jam was when I made the most progress. The night before, I experimented with the idea of obstacles. The first idea was to just add spikes, but that was boring, so I added a flamethrower, making this allow me to learn something new, while loops. As simple as this may seem to an experienced programmer, I was super happy to have finally figured out a case to use them in. Once the logic was done, I experimented with the particle system, made the flame look all nice and pretty, and it was done. After that, I made some spikes. I know I said they were boring, but I needed to fill out the levels more. Trust me, it was definitely not because I couldn't think of anything else. After adding the new obstacles, I went off to make level 1. I started by recycling the little playtest area I made, and I went with a more confined level type. I basically just blindly painted for 30 or so minutes, added the hazards, and the level finished. Despite having no knowledge of level design, the feedback on the levels were actually quite positive. Thanks for watching a lot of videos about game jams. I know quality over quantity is quite important, so I chose only to make 2 levels. Before starting work on the second level, I wanted to add a new character to introduce. The new guy is similar to the short character, but instead he's thin, so he can fit through small drops. With this character, I started painting out the level like level 1. Once the layout was made, I added the obstacles, and level 2 is done. Okay, so the actual content is down, but now we have a major problem. The game kinda sucks to play. So I added things like squash and stretch when the character jumps, which I've actually been wanting to add for ages now, ever since I saw it a few months back. I also thought it'd be a good idea to add sound effects to the game, which like a lot of things in game dev took much longer than I thought. After adding a few more things, I considered the game done and it was time to submit. Ironically, I ran into the most problems when the game was done. You see, this was the first game I ever completed and released to the public, so I'm scrambling through Google and YouTube trying to figure out why I'm getting these errors. Eventually, I get the zip file uploaded, but now I need the cover art, so I open Photoshop, get a screenshot from the game and put the game title on the top of the image. I decided to name the game Shapeshift, exported the image, uploaded it, and headed to bed. The next morning, I wake up and the feedback is actually very positive. People are complimenting the art, levels, the simplicity, movement, and also suggesting different ideas I could add to the game. Update: as of recording this, the Game Jam voting period has finally ended. I ended up coming 6th out of the entire Game Jam, which for my first Game Jam is pretty impressive, I would say. Seeing this felt amazing. Going from making little projects by myself to getting feedback for a little game I made in a weekend was extremely motivating. Seriously, thanks to those who left a comment. For my first game jam, I certainly did impress myself, and I learned so much so quickly. I guess I can finally consider myself a game developer. I definitely want to try a new game jam soon. I now understand how people get addicted to doing these small competitions. The feedback feels great. If you want to go play the game, you can click the link in the description and head to my itch page. Thank you so much for watching to the end. It kind of blows my mind that people would even care about what a 14-year-old makes in his spare time. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. I want to try to reach 100 subs before the end of the year. Okay, enough of the YouTube talk. Goodbye!